Hello, it's time to be speaking of wrestling and more specifically time to be speaking about the controversy in TNA wrestling, an update on the situation with Dixie Carter, Jeff Jarrett, Kurt Angle and Karen Angle. Most importantly, the three latter of the four names I mentioned. As we all know, Jeff Jarrett was allegedly sent home from TNA Impact. He wasn't at Victory Road due to Karen Angle moving in with Jeff Jarrett with her girls and Kurt Angle's girls, of course, at Jeff Jarrett's home. There were also rumors stating from the Bubba the Love Sponge show that Jeff Jarrett had indeed had an affair with Karen Angle last fall, which led to a divorce between Kurt and Karen Angle. Further rumors said now that Jeff Jarrett had been sent home, Kurt Angle was pushing to get more power and take over the booking team, or else he might leave for WWE. As it looks right now, I would rather say it was more likely that Jeff Jarrett wasn't suspended. Probably, and what some rumors have claimed, is that Jeff Jarrett himself decided to go home. It was the best for the situation for Jarrett to take some time off, let the situation cool off, and as they say, cooler heads prevail, so that they can solve the situation on a later date. Just sit down. I mean, they have been able to exist now in the company for almost a year after this affair, Angle and Jarrett, that is. They probably hate each other's guts, and they, from what I know, have never been able to get along that well. And we all know Kurt Angle is a hothead as well, and he's not easy to always cooperate with. Angle, what I want to give my opinion on this situation and what I think will go down. The problem is I don't think anyone will go. I don't think it seems now that WWE has apparently had a meeting where the topic of Kurt Angle possibly coming back to WWE was discussed. WWE's Vince McMahon, owner Vince McMahon, claimed that he actually saw no purpose in bringing Kurt Angle back because it would not be a long-term deal. Vince McMahon is now trying to bring up the next generation of wrestlers, and Kurt Angle is not in that next generation, of course, as he's about 40 years old. So Kurt Angle does apparently not have the alternative of going back to WWE as it seems right now. But you never know. I have a hard time seeing that Vince would say no if the possibility came up. But knowing this, it kind of minimizes Kurt Angle's room for playing this political game, and I also don't see why they would. I mean, there's a split in the WWE TNA backstage among the wrestlers, some siding with Jarrett, some siding with Angle, and I mean, if Kurt Angle left and they took Jeff Jarrett in charge, it would come up this discussion: what, could you really trust Jeff Jarrett? Most wrestlers are siding with Angle, and I mean, this is often an indication that they sympathizes with Kurt Angle and don't have the trust in Jeff Jarrett. And firing Kurt Angle would be taking Jeff Jarrett's side, and a lot of wrestlers wouldn't buy that. So firing Kurt Angle, I don't think that's going to happen. It could be Kurt Angle walking out, but seeing now that WWE has voiced they have no apparent interest in him, I don't see him leaving TNA. One could discuss then firing Jeff Jarrett. Would that be a good decision? Well, I don't think that would be a good decision either, because if they fire Jeff Jarrett, there's also been talk that they are going to look on the booker Vince Russo and several other names brought in by Jeff Jarrett, and look for how their booking control is going to look, and if they are going to stay with the company. And if they fire Jarrett and bring Kurt Angle into the booking team, giving him more power, no, because I say a big part of TNA doing so damn good right now and rising in the ratings, having such an interesting impact showing every week, is due to Vince Russo. He's a large part. This is the resurrection of Vince Russo. If you don't know who Vince Russo is, check Wikipedia or something. He was a main force in the WWE booking during the Attitude Era before going to WCW in 1999. So he's a large part, main part of TNA's current success. And if they fired Jeff Jarrett, that would also leave the wrestlers siding with Jeff Jarrett in an awkward situation. A lot of wrestlers were brought in by Jeff Jarrett. Do they want to stay if the man that brought them in leaves? doubtful, especially if Kurt Angle gets more booking control, because then that could be perhaps their career getting a death row sentence. I mean, could pretty much kill them. Kurt Angle would, of course, being the hothead that he is, do everything he can to punish these guys who sided with Jarrett. And even though if he did not get booking control, he would also try to bury these wrestlers siding with Jarrett. So firing someone of them or letting them go would be letting TNA implode. This is, I mean, to think of this, this is not an Edge Lita Matt Hardy situation. This is the owner of TNA and one of TNA's biggest franchise players in this situation. Everyone, this is a situation where everyone have an opinion. Everyone has an opinion. So it won't go off. If they do not handle this properly, it could make things really stir up in TNA. And I also don't see this claim that Kurt Angle is want to have more booking control. It could be true. It could be truth to these rumors and gossip. But I don't see TNA management being that unprofessional, because that would send the message that you could indeed bully your way to getting more booking control, booking power, and this also encourages some kind of mob behavior, where you side with the biggest names in wrestling, and then you're, as I said, bully your way to get power. That does not send out a good message indeed. Especially if you do harvest upon unfortunate incidents and try to groom your success from it, like it would be that Angle did, because he would use the situation of Karen Angle cheating with Jarrett and Karen living at the home of Jarrett to get his claims and get what he wants. So no, I don't see this happening either. I simply think heads will cool off, they will sit down, they will solve this in a professional manner. Jeff Jarrett, after all, is somewhat the spinal cord of TNA. He founded it. His blood and his fingerprints is all over it, over the product. It just isn't the same when Jeff Jarrett isn't there. Several people have mentioned that during Victory Road. Indeed, TNA is using this as a storyline somewhat now. Kurt Angle wanting the keys to Mick Foley's office, claiming Jeff Jarrett sits at home, now he's going to take over. And that's apparently what they're going to do. So they're somewhat using this, and that's interesting. That's of course interesting. It makes it even harder for a fan to see whether is this fiction or reality, these rumors. As it is right now, Jarrett sold the biggest share of it. I think it was 51% of his share and ownership to Dixie Carter's and this Panda Energy company to get the economic funds and the backup that the company needs. Still, they can't fire him. They would need to buy him out, and I don't simply think Jeff Jarrett would let that happen. That's my summary and my assumptions from this situation and my assessments on how things are going to work out. Feel free to have opinions and watch my other videos. Have a nice day.